Hi everybody, my name is Tuesday, like the day of the week, and I am a PhD student at Berkeley and I'm studying microbiology. And we'll talk about my science in a minute, but I first want to tell you a little bit about who I am and what I like to do when I'm not doing science. So I grew up in West Virginia on the East Coast and went to high school there. And after high school, I went to Marshall University, which is a college also in West Virginia. And after college, I moved to Berkeley to do a PhD in microbiology. As part of being a scientist, we have the opportunity to present our work at conferences, and I've been able to travel all over the world and talk to other scientists about what I do. And here's a couple pictures of places that I've been. Been to Austria and Germany just recently. And when I'm not doing science, I like to spend time with my husband, who's a geologist, and here he is in Hawaii looking at some rocks in a volcanic crater, and go hiking with our dog, Rhea. So I study microbiology, and you might not know what this word means, but you might know what the word biology means, which is the study of living things. So if biology means the study of living things, we're adding onto it another part, micro, which refers to the size of the living things that we're studying. So we're studying tiny, microscopic living things that we call microbes. And these microbes are all around us. They live in our guts, on surfaces, on chairs and tables and doorknobs. They live in the air and on the ground. And the environment in which I study microbes is inside of plants. So we all know how important plants are. Plants help us grow food, and they make oxygen for us to breathe. And there are microbes living on all parts of the plants, on their leaves and their stems and their roots. And I am interested in how microbes that live inside plant roots can help them grow better. So what microbes in the soil can do for plants is that they can take nutrients from the soil that the plants otherwise couldn't get, like nitrogen and phosphate, and they can help the plant out by providing them with those nutrients. So it's like giving their plant friend a gift. But in the real world, in the wild, living things don't like to do things for free a lot. So the bacteria will give the plant nutrients, but then the plant will also do a favor for the bacteria or the microbes by giving them a nice place to live. It's really hard to live in the soil because there are other things trying to eat you, or it might get really hot or really cold. But if the plants can give the microbes a nice place to live, then they're much happier. And I want to point out that this a scientific word for this is called a symbiosis, and that can refer to any time there are two living things interacting with each other. So it can be interacting in a good way or a bad way, and in this case, it's a good way. I also want to point out that bacteria and plant cells are not actually the same size. Like I made them in this cartoon. If I made the cartoon relative to how their actual size is, this is how it would look. Bacteria and other microbes are about 10 times smaller than plant cells. And so I'm going to tell you about the little, the places that microbes can live inside of plants. And in order to do that, I'm going to go outside right now and dig up some clovers so I can show you where the microbes are living inside the plants. So I'll be right back. I'm back and I got some clovers. You might be able to find these in your yard too. So if we look at the roots of the clover, so the roots are the parts that were underground, we can see there might be some bumps on them. So I'm going to put this underneath a microscope that I made so we can look at them a little bit better. So here's the microscope that I've made, and it's just plates of plastic with wood to hold the base, and then a lens from a laser pointer that's going to bend the light and allow us to see the really small pieces of the plant root that we're interested in. So you can see the normal root is very skinny and white, and the part of the root that houses the special bacteria that get nutrients for the plant are these big brown lumps. And these are brown because this was an older clover, but they can be pink when it's a baby clover. So these little bumps are called root nodules, and they're formed when a plant detects a helpful microbe in the soil surrounding the plant, and it forms this little bump that the microbes can live in. So these are called root nodules, and this is another picture of what they look like close up. So I want to know more about these microbes. What are they doing for the plant, and who are they? What type of microbes are they? And we can study them by picking out individual microbes. But how do we do that if they're so tiny? Well, what we can do is we can put them on these petri dishes, and they're filled with basically jello. And these microbes really like to eat the jello, and they'll grow up. And then you can start to see each individual circle on the plate of jello started from one bacterial cell. So each circle came from one type of microbe. So what we can do with these individual microbes is we can ask in the lab, what do they eat, or what kind of nutrients could they help the plant get? And a couple things that I want to ask you all to think about are, first, what other good things do you think microbes can do for plants or animals? And can you think of any other examples of symbiosis? And this doesn't have to be involving microbes. It could be involving bigger animals or bigger plants. And it doesn't have to be a beneficial relationship. It could be something that's harming something else. Thanks.